Let's forget about data and charts for a while. Tonight, we're not dealing with facts, but with fire, with a myth. It isn't about gods or monsters hiding in the clouds, but about something much closer to home, the journey of the human spirit. A heroic climb up the most treacherous mountain of all, the mountain of meaning itself.
So come on, gather round. Feel the crackle of the fire. See the deep, endless dark that surrounds us. I'm just a traveler, you see, and I'm here to share a story, a truth I found etched into the rock on the most dangerous precipices of the soul.
This is the tale of the three metamorphoses. It's an old story, a map, really. It shows how the spirit, if it wants to be truly free, must first become a camel, then transform into a lion, and finally, be reborn as a child. Each stage is absolutely necessary, like shedding an old skin on the long path to the summit.
But here's the thing about this journey. It doesn't start with a step forward. No, it begins with a fall. It starts with a catastrophic shattering of everything you thought was real, leaving just one question echoing in that deafening silence. Now what?
This first stage is a cataclysm. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche had a name for it, the death of God. Now, don't get hung up on theology. This isn't about that. It's about the collapse of a single universal source of meaning, the one great anchor of truth and morality that once held the entire world in place.
Just imagine it, all the rigid certainties, the absolute rights and wrongs that felt so solid, suddenly shattering like delicate porcelain towers. And what's left in their place? It's not a void, not just emptiness. It's something far more frightening and, well, far more exhilarating. A vast open sea of infinite possibility.
And right here, this reveals a fundamental split in humanity. You see, most people, what Nietzsche might call the reading rabble, they look out at this open sea and they just panic. They're terrified of a gray shadow life without meaning. But the heroic spirit, the Dionysian traveler who embraces life's chaos, sees the complete opposite. A glorious, terrifying freedom, a chance to finally create meaning for oneself.
But okay, before that climb can even begin, the spirit has to learn the nature of weight itself. So our journey doesn't start on a mountain peak, it starts down low, in a gray valley of burdens, where the spirit takes on its first form, the camel.
The camel, you see, embodies the spirit of reverence and duty. It's strong, it's patient, and it willingly kneels down to be loaded up with the heaviest burdens imaginable. All the traditions, the morals, the thou shalt of its culture.
And these burdens have a name, the spirit of gravity. It's the force that pulls us all down with duties and external commands. It's the crushing weight of every single thou shalt, every ink-stained command, every leaden cloak of tradition. The camel carries this incredible weight out into the desert, not because it's weak, but to test the very limits of its strength.
But out there, in the loneliest desert, something begins to shift. The air gets thin. A storm starts to gather. Not in the sky above, but deep within the climber's soul. The spirit is preparing for its second metamorphosis.
The spirit violently sheds its camel skin and becomes a lion. It is no longer a beast of burden, it is now a predator. And its ultimate goal is to become a creator. But it knows a crucial truth. Before you can create, you must first destroy. You have to clear the kingdom of your own mind of all the old, dusty rules.
The lion's only weapon is a single, earth-shaking roar, a sacred no. This is a holy rejection of every single thou shalt that the camel once carried. The lion goes to war with the great dragon of tradition, a beast covered in the glittering scales of old values, and it fights for the freedom to finally, powerfully say, I will.
Now this is absolutely critical to understand. The lion's rage isn't nihilism. It's not just destruction for the sake of it. No, this is a creative destruction. It's the necessary act of clearing the land, of tearing down the old stagnant structures to create an empty space where something new, something truly authentic can finally be built. After the roaring storm of the lion's rebellion, a stillness settles. The clouds part. The climber, having cleared the path, finally reaches the summit. And the air up here is clean. The sky is crystal clear and the sun is almost blinding. And it's here at the peak that the final transformation happens.
The lion becomes a child. Now this isn't a step backward, it's a leap beyond. The child represents a state of pure innocence, of forgetting. Not forgetting its past, but forgetting the need to fight. Its path is clear. It is a new beginning. It is a wheel rolling out of its own center, finally free to play the sacred game of creation.
You see, where the lion's great heroic act was a sacred no, the child's is a sacred yes. Having completely destroyed the world of external values, it must now turn and affirm a world of its own making.
And this brings us to the ultimate philosophy of our heroic climber, amor fati. It's a Latin phrase, and it means the love of one's fate. It's the profound ability to look at your entire life, the triumphs, sure, but also the failures, the joy and the suffering, and not to just accept it, but to love it, to want nothing to be different ever.
But that's a tough pill to swallow, isn't it? What about the scars from the journey? What about the memory of all those heavy burdens, of that violent, roaring struggle? How in the world does the child redeem the pain of the climb?
Well, the answer isn't to erase the scars or to pretend the suffering never happened. No, that would be a kind of weakness, a lie against your own story.
Instead, the child performs a kind of spiritual alchemy. It takes all the pain, all the struggle, the weight of the camel, and the rage of the lion, and it weaves it all into a beautiful, intricate tapestry. The suffering isn't erased, it's reframed. It becomes a sacred, necessary, and even beautiful ingredient of the final creation. Life is no longer justified by being good or moral, but by becoming a work of art. And so, there our climber stands, on the sunlit mountaintop. No longer a camel, no longer a lion, but a creator, a dancer, perfectly poised on the very edge of the abyss. And from this peak, the view of existence itself splits in two. The fearful soul, the last man who just wants comfort and security, he looks down at the obsidian sea and sees only a terrifying, chaotic storm. But our heroic climber, the overman, sees something else entirely, a beautiful, wild cosmic dance, a world justified as a work of art.
The ultimate insight is this: the goal was never to conquer the abyss, it was to learn to dance on its edge. The climber has taken that very same spirit of gravity that once crushed the camel and has transformed its weight into the power source for a lightning bolt of self-created meaning.
My story is done. The fire is burning low. I've shown you the path of the three metamorphoses, so the only question that remains, the only one that truly matters, is the one I have for you. What mountains must you climb? What burdens must you carry? What prisons must you destroy? And what worlds are you waiting to create?